So during this week, we did have some bipolar weather where I'm at. I actually thought that it was gonna be warm from here on out, but it actually turned out that it would be snowing towards the end of the week. So I had to kind of vary my fragrance choices from like fresher stuff to more darker stuff towards the end of the week. So stay tuned and find out what kind of fragrances I chose to wear throughout this week. Hey, what's going on guys? Hunter here and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new, what I do is I make fragrance related content. So if you love fragrances, go ahead and smash the subscribe button down below. But that's right guys, I'm bringing you another weekly fragrance rotation. I know I did skip a couple weeks, but I do miss it. So I decided to do another one and hopefully still try to keep these going because every time I post them, you guys seem to really enjoy these. But what we do in these weekly fragrance rotations, of course, I tell you what fragrance I chose to wear, the kind of weather it was on that day, how many sprays I did, and if we got any compliments with that fragrance. So let's start the week off on Sunday as we usually do. Okay, so for Sunday, it was a pretty warm day. I think it was in like the high 60s, I believe. It might have been cloudy, but what I did on Sunday was pretty much just relax at home. I did go out to dinner in the evening time, and the fragrance I chose to wear is actually Guerlain's L'Homme Ideal Sport. Now, this is a very unique take on a sport fragrance because usually when you think of sport fragrances, you think of aquatic, you think of fresh, maybe citrusy. But with this one, you do of course get the aquatic touches with it, but you also have that almond note, very gourmand almond in here with this, which is found throughout the whole entire L'Homme Ideal line. So you do pick up on that, but you also get some spiciness. Now you don't usually look at like spicy notes and maybe like gourmand notes to be a sporty fragrance by any means, but Guerlain absolutely outdid themselves with this fragrance for a sport fragrance. How I would actually describe this is maybe not like spring, summer sports, but more like fall and winter, maybe like hockey, ice skating, snowboarding, stuff like that. I think this fragrance is perfect for. So just because it says sports, you don't have to always think of maybe like running or basketball, football, nothing like that. Definitely more of a winter sports fragrance. But I did go 5 sprays of this one. It did perform pretty well. I did not get any compliments from it either, but that's no big deal. I don't really think this is probably a big compliment magnet, to be honest with you guys, because it is very different, very unique, and of course it has that perfect blend that you always find with Guerlain fragrances. Okay, so for Monday, I was pretty much at work all day long, and I decided to pull out a fragrance that was probably the most hated release of 2020, and of course I'm speaking about Dior Homme's 2020 launch. Now, with this fragrance, I can definitely see why it did get so much hate because if you don't know, the original Dior Homme is beloved by many people in the community and just people in general because it has that nice creamy, powdery, lipsticky iris in it, which it is known for, of course, in that line. And with the new launch, they totally got rid of the iris note. They pretty much axed it out of this fragrance. What you get with Dior Homme 2020, it's a very woody, very modern, very heavy on icy super as well, very synthetic. But honestly guys, for me, I really like this fragrance. I do own the original Dior Homme as well, but trust me, I do love the original Dior Homme probably even more than this one. That one is just so sophisticated, so professional, so rich smelling. This one is just like your modern kind of cologne, typical fragrance, but it is kind of unique because it does have that heavy dose of ISOE super. I do remember first smelling this when it first came out in 2020, and I actually fell in love with it at the counter at Dillard's, and I just got a bottle right then and there. I actually owned this one before I owned the original Dior Homme, but after getting this one, I had to have the original. And man, I fell in love with the original just as much as this one. But on that day to work, I did go 6 sprays of this one. I did not get any compliments, but this one has gotten many compliments in the past when I have worn it because it just is very crowd pleasing. It comes across very masculine as well. Unlike the original Dior Homme, that one can kind of come across a little bit unisex. It's not like your typical masculine fragrance because it does have like that matte makeup, bag, lipstick kind of iris in it. This one's completely different, does not smell similar to the original at all, but I really do enjoy this relaunch. I just wish they pretty much put it under a totally different line. I think it would have done a lot better, but that's what I chose to wear on Monday to work. So for Tuesday, I actually pulled a fragrance out that I just did a review on recently, and the fragrance is Armand's Hunter's Intense. Now, with Armand's Hunter Intense, this is a very solid, cheaper fragrance. Now, it is kind of similar to Dior Sauvage. So if you love the DNA of Sauvage, like the ambroxan, the bergamot, everything like that that comes with that fragrance, you're gonna absolutely love this one. Because for me, guys, after wearing this a few times, I actually prefer this fragrance over Dior Sauvage. And I know Dior Sauvage pulls a ton of compliments, so if you're looking for compliments, trust me, this one will pull just as many as Sauvage, and you will smell a little bit different than every other guy at work or walking around or anything like that, because you always smell Sauvage. So this one's a little bit different, but man, with this, like I said, it is kind of synthetic. It's nothing natural about this one. It does smell a little bit cheaper than Sauvage, but man, the DNA in here is just so good. I heard it's compared to Aqua Rabanne's Invictus and Sauvage kind of combined together, which I do not own Invictus. I don't recall what it really smells like, so I couldn't tell you if that's the case or not. But on Tuesday, I was at work. I did go 6 sprays of this. It was sort of like a rainy, kind of cool day. But after work, I did actually go out to dinner. But yeah, no compliments. And this stuff does perform very well. Even after like a 10-hour work shift that I work, I was still getting whiffs of this in the air. So very, very beast performing fragrance, just like Sauvage. Okay, so on Wednesday, I was at work pretty much all day long, and I decided to pull out a fragrance that I haven't pulled out in a very long time, and it is an iris-based fragrance, but it's not the original Dior Homme. It's actually Valentino's Uomo Intense. Now, I actually love this fragrance. It's a very different fragrance than Dior Homme, in my opinion, even though it does still have that lipsticky iris in here. But man, it's a toss up on which one I actually prefer, because with the Valentino Uomo Intense, you actually get like a nice creamy orange. I get like a nice cream orange, like orange sickle in here. Very nice. Of course, you get that iris as well, maybe some vanilla touches. Very warming fragrance, and this stuff smells expensive. And I did get a compliment on this fragrance when I wore it, and I'll tell you that in a minute. But so on that day, I actually did go 6 sprays. It was sort of like a cloudy, it wasn't the coldest day, but it was a cloudy, gloomy day. And I did get a comment on this one when I was actually leaving work. So I'm telling you guys, like 10 hours after, this stuff was still pretty much projecting off of my skin. I was leaving work and I was walking with one of my coworkers. He's another guy. And this woman behind me was like, wow, one of you guys smells incredible. And he was like, yeah, it's probably him. And I was talking to her. She's like, yeah, I love that. It smells so rich. I was like, yeah, thank you. I told her what it was and stuff like that. And it's funny because she's like, what is that, like a Bath and Body Works? I kind of laughed. I was like, no, it's actually Valentino Uomo's Intense. She said, yeah, it smells rich. It has me like following you outside. She was joking around about that. But yeah, this does come across very rich smelling. It smells like a rich guy. It smells expensive. Just all in all, a very, very good fragrance. And you can tell if you have like an older bottle, because this actually did get a scare that it got discontinued. If you watched my first impression, I did speak about it because I got the newer package, but then they just recently updated it again, where now it has spikes around the collar. That's how you know if you have the newest formulation of it, but this one is a little bit older. And man, I love this one. You also get some leather in here as well. Just all in all, an amazing fragrance for the colder months. So that's what I chose to wear on Wednesday, is Valentino Uomo's Intense. So for Thursday, I did decide to pull out a ambroxan heavy fragrance. And I mean like a straight ambroxan bomb, in my opinion. And the fragrance I'm speaking about is Fragrance One's Office for Men. With Office for Men, now, honestly, this is a huge compliment getter. Almost every time I wear this one, I always get people ask me, what are you wearing? What is that? I need to know, write that down, text me that, whatever. People love this stuff. Even though on Thursday, I didn't get a comment, but I actually did leave work pretty early on that day. I wasn't at work all day, so I wasn't really around that many people, and then I just kind of came home and just chilled. But for Office for Men, I did go 6 sprays of this one, which is plenty because this stuff is a beast. Even though this isn't the most like highly concentrated fragrance from Fragrance One, this is still an eau de parfum compared to like Date for Men and Office for, or Black Tie for Men, which are both extraits. This one is still nuclear, extremely crowd pleasing. Everyone that I've asked about loves this fragrance. I haven't got any negative feedback, unlike Black Tie for Men. I have got some negative feedback with that one, but yeah, 6 sprays of this stuff. It was sort of cloudy. It wasn't that warm either. Even though this is a very versatile fragrance that you can pretty much wear all year round, kind of like Dior Sauvage, kind of like Bleu de Chanel. It just works for all seasons, all occasions. And yeah, man, I love this one. Jeremy Fragrance and Alberto Marias really did a good job with pretty much the whole line, in my opinion. But yeah, I know this did get a lot of hate. I don't think it really deserves the hate because it is a great fragrance. And remember, just because you're hating on this fragrance, you're not actually hating on Jeremy, you're hating on Alberto Marias, who created it. Now on the Friday. So on Friday is actually the day I recorded that vlog. If you missed that vlog, definitely check it out. Maybe I'll leave a link down below or just check out my profile. So I did pretty much go shopping. I recorded the vlog and stuff like that. And it was a pretty cold day. I believe it was in the 40s or so. So I think it was the coldest day of the week. And I actually put out one of my favorite fragrances and a fragrance that I consider to be a masterpiece. And you guys know what that is if you caught the vlog. And the fragrance is Amouage's Interlude Man, aka the Blue Beast, guys. Now with Interlude Man, it does have a nice unique oregano note in there, so it does come across a little bit green, a little bit gourmand in my opinion. Not many fragrances have the oregano note. I think this is the only fragrance that I know of, and the oregano note is very prominent, especially in the opening of this. It does change as it dries down. You do have a ton of incense in here. I think you do have a little bit of oud in the background as well, but not an oud fragrance by any means. I will not say that, yeah, I smell oud in here 100% because it is sort of hidden. The incense though, the incense is very smoky, very resinous, and this is a straight through and through incense-based fragrance. Now, it was very rainy on that day. I did go 6 sprays of this stuff, which is plenty. You do not need any more than 6 sprays. You could probably do a little bit less because this stuff, like I said, is a beast. One of the best performing fragrances in my entire collection. I did not get any compliments from this one, even though this one doesn't really come across like it would be like a compliment magnet fragrance. It is a little bit creamy. There might be vanilla in there, maybe a little bit of leather. Just all in all, a fantastic fragrance from Amouage, and it's by far one of my favorite fragrances in my entire collection. A 10 out of 10 in my opinion. So wrapping the week off on Saturday. So on Saturday, I was outside a lot. I was out at like outside malls and stuff. It wasn't as cold as it was on Friday, even though we did get some snow, and it's snowing right now as I'm recording this. It's a very snowy day. I'm just hoping for warmer days to come because I'm so excited to pull out more of my, spring, summer fragrances. I actually missed those, surprisingly, since I do lean more towards the darker stuff. But for Saturday, I actually did decide to go with Tom Ford's Ombre Leather. Now, Ombre Leather, if you caught my top 14 Tom Ford fragrances in my collection, you would know Ombre Leather ranked up very, very high, even surpassing Tuscan Leather, which was my first Tom Ford in my entire collection, and a fragrance I loved for many years, but it just sort of became old to me. And after getting Ombre Leather, I much prefer this fragrance. So with Ombre Leather, you do have obviously a very authentic leather smelling accord in here. Even though you can't have natural leather in a fragrance, they are always synthetic in accords to pretty much mock how it smells. But they did a very good job. It kind of smells like a new car smell leather, which is nice. So if you're just looking for a leather smelling fragrance, Ombre Leather has it probably the best when it comes to just that. Alongside the leather in this fragrance, you do pick up on a nice kind of white floral jasmine, and it does come across a little bit dirty and earthy, which I love. I love the note of jasmine, probably one of my favorite florals alongside lavender in my opinion. So yeah, that's what you pretty much get with this fragrance. Now, I did decide to go 6 sprays of this stuff walking around outside, and it was like a rainy, snowy day. And this stuff is a very good performing fragrance. I don't think it's as good as Tuscan Leather, if I recall. I would have to try to test both of them out side by side to actually know for sure which one performs a little bit better as being the leather fragrance from Tom Ford. But in my experience recently, this one has been performing very, very well. No complaints whatsoever. Now, I did not get any compliments from Ombre Leather walking around and stuff, but I did have a bunch of people kind of like look back, kind of stare, and I would imagine they were thinking like, wow, that smells very good, because this stuff was projecting very, very strong. Like the whole day, I was getting huge whiffs of it when I turn, walk, etc. So that's when I pretty much decided to wear it to go outside shopping, was Ombre Leather. That's gonna wrap up my weekly fragrance rotation. Let me know down below what fragrances you chose to wear throughout the week. And if it's warm where you guys are at, or if it's cold still, let me know. But of course, as usual, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you guys haven't already, and I'll catch all you guys in the next upload. Take care, everybody.